Hello and good morning everyone, and thank you for joining our Good Technology webinar today. So we are joined here by Danny Breeze from Good Technology, who will be presenting the webinar for you today.
Without further ado, I'd like to speak to you about securely mobilizing your Microsoft investment. So by which I'm talking about your back-end infrastructure, your Exchange, and all the other Microsoft bits and pieces. So as you start thinking about your mobile strategy and mobilizing these Microsoft applications, we're going to talk about some things you really sort of need to consider. So what we call the mobility gap, and also securely mobilizing that investment of what you've already put lots of money into, your Exchange and Active Directory and the rest, and the challenges you'll face with the different platforms that are available out there, not just Windows. Now, the journey to mobile enterprise has really sort of happened over the last 10 years. Organizations have started with messaging and enterprise mobility management, and with time moved on, wanting to utilize collaboration apps and mobilizing existing applications, which is probably what we're going to speak most about today. New business processes is the right of the peak here of the on the right hand side, is really where the maximum return on investment can be seen. A great example of this is a power company. I won't mention the name, but you can find a case study about them on our website. Their engineers used to carry laptops, big ruggedized laptops, costing upwards of 10K each, because they're ruggedized. The engineers treated them as such. They'd fling them into the back of the van, and they might take a little beating. And they'd have to carry these big laptops around with their vibration sensor. And what they'd do is, the problem was telegraph poles. They would rot and fall over. They had to quickly check them and report back to HQ where they were so they could be replaced in a timely fashion. So what this power company did, aside from mobilizing their email and other apps, they wrote their own application, which is ran on an ordinary iPhone, and a tap to the telegraph pole, a gentle tap, mind you, would then create a vibration. The vibration sensor in the phone would be able to tell whether the telegraph pole was rotten or not, and then automatically upload the information back to the power company, which is essentially doing that just from an iPhone. They don't no longer have to pay for expensive laptops, vibration sensors, and the hours of time that are saved are just phenomenal. So this is where, for them, a maximum return on investment can be seen. Really good way of putting their own application to good use there. Mobile also brings opportunity, with it a great amount of risk. You can assure your buildings, your staff and other assets, but what price would you actually put on your data and information? So as you're mobilizing your Microsoft investment, it's really important to look at how we can balance that risk. Over 50% of companies had a data breach. You may have seen the press recently. There's lots of companies reporting different, all sorts of data loss, and it's really difficult to mitigate against that, with regards to putting a cost against it, a price against that. What we do see in the marketplace is that people are facing what we call the mobile gap. On the one hand, they have their enterprise systems, Exchange, Office 365, Lync, SharePoint, really sort of common examples of those. But what has occurred is that gap between the two worlds, of the back-end infrastructure and some of the new devices that are out there. There's different approaches to tackle this gap. So people have deployed per-app VPNs. These tend to prove inefficient with regard to battery life, and then you're going to there's a cost attached to that. So be it licenses for your VPN, concentrator hardware, and the rest of it. Then there's people go for VDI, so your virtual desktops, which can lead to a terrible user experience. That may well be consistent, but tends to be consistently bad. Other users just go for maybe an already active sync connection, or different apps ending up with lots of different connections to your network, and essentially creates openings for rogue apps. Now, I'll talk about what Good proposes the enterprise bridges that mobility gap with. What we offer is the Good Dynamics Secure Mobility Platform, which is essentially the trusted middle layer between back-end systems and the devices. It provides a single platform with a single means to access all the different back-end systems. And it includes all the things you'd expect from a traditional MDM vendor. So mobile device management, mobile application management, mobile content management, mobile service management, and mobile backend as a service. It also has mobile versions of all the apps that all the apps beg your pardon, my screen's locked up. All the apps that people are looking to mobilise and provide a way for you to plug in additional apps and develop custom applications. A real benefit this is that VDI and VPNs, etc. aren't required. In fact, no inbound connection at all is needed for our technology, which means it's extremely secure and consistent across all platforms. When we decided to put this technology together, we came up with important sort of pillars to build this on. So, primary one being security. It's important to secure your data on the device. You need to secure your data in transit and protect the content and protect your credentials and even your configuration. At no point of any of what we call the 3 Cs, content, credentials, configuration, be exposed or in the clear. User experience came in a close second there. So you need to make sure you're offering a business class experience on all of the different devices to make sure all the different apps actually enable a user's workflow. To be able to say, I've got an email, I want to see with presence, I want to use chat, I want to be able to access a document on the network, on SharePoint, or save the document back, all securely. The same sort of experience that was behind the reason for you choosing Microsoft Desktop in the first place. Flexibility. You want the flexibility to leverage all the different apps you've deployed for it to be consistent across all the applications. And the flexibility is to be on-premise, in the cloud, or hybrid configuration, maybe moving from on-prem to cloud or vice versa, or maybe it's a move you planned for the future, but you need to be able to consider all these possibilities. Let's have a look at some of the individual apps as we go on. So the first one people usually talk about is email, and that's usually where people take their first steps into mobility. So our flagship app is called Good Work. It's an application that mobilizes Office 365 or Exchange. It's available on-premise or in the cloud, and it's purpose-built for the business experience. Consumer/native apps aren't integrated in with all these back-end systems. They aren't necessarily integrating with Active Directory, with Lync for presence, or chat for integrating chat, or integrating SharePoint, etc. So you need to have an app that supports all those integrations so people can be efficient on the go. Good Work ties into all those different systems and gives you contextual information so you can respond quickly, and is secure because the data is held within a container. It doesn't rely on the device password, doesn't leave the data exposed on the device while it's in transit or communicating with other apps. So Good Work is a pure business class secure experience for mobilizing Exchange or Office 365. And furthermore, it's available on-prem or in the cloud. A lot of organizations are in some degree of Office 365 migration. For some, they're considering it eventually, and some are saying, no way, Jose, on-prem only. Whatever your plans, with Good Dynamics, you don't need to re-architect your whole environment should you wish to move from one to another. I mentioned user experience and enabling workflows, so I want to just quickly show you sort of 5 images here from 5 different screens from Good Work. So as I move from left to right, I'll touch on what each handset on the slide here sort of touches on. the first one here, you see it's people-centric. There's real-time presence being shown here. There's lots of red dots indicating people are busy, little dots on the bottom underneath the people's pictures. There's unifying contact information from Active Directory, showing presence and people-centric email history. So with just one tap, you can get a list of all the different emails or communications you've had with an individual. In the middle handset there, you can see the little red dot on the bottom, our launcher, the red Good Launcher. With one single tap, you can access all your corporate applications. And if you go on here, you can see there's one-click actions for accessing documents. You can literally save a document back to your network file share with one tap, open it in a certain application. The app actually recognizes what document you're about to access and offers you a relevant app rather than giving you a list of apps that could possibly open it. It'll only offer you ones that are actually relevant to what you're actually doing. And this is the kind of integrated user experience we've all come used to on a desktop. And we've also come used to it being the opposite on a mobile device. Those the images I showed you there were from Good Work on iOS. This is what it looks like on, this is Good for Enterprise on Windows Phone, and also securing Windows 8.1 Pro. Good Access is our new secure browser. Not only is it a secure browser, so you can access all your internal systems securely. You can also browse the internet and force all traffic through your web proxy if you wanted to. But a really great thing about it is its ability to access Microsoft web apps. So if you're lucky enough to have an Exchange 2013 with Microsoft web apps in there, then you can utilize a Good Access browser on an iPad or Android tablet and have all fully featured access to your Office suite via Good Access. And you can even then download documents and email them off with just a couple of taps. Additionally, if you had any of your own web applications, you may have custom built maybe a timesheet application or some other online form like using your intranet. You can do the same there, so you can access all those with our Good Access browser. A really great thing, I get really excited about this, I think it's really clever, is the our Good Connect, which is our Lync front end. So if your organisation already has Lync on the back end, you can not only link from mobile device to mobile device, but you can also link from mobile device to laptop, desktop, or desktop to mobile device. It doesn't matter which device you're on, all the colleagues can message each other, see real-time presence. You can even send each other links to SharePoint to access. Really great, really handy, and completely secure as well. You will need a obviously link on the back end. It won't work on its own, but it's a really quick way of communicating with colleagues. We've recently upgraded our Good Share platform to become Good Docs, which integrates completely with Good Work, and it enables users to save any documents directly back to your network file share, SharePoint, and I think we now support Microsoft OneDrive as well. Even essentially, you can set your device to save everything back to your environment, to your network files as you want to, if you don't want to save anything on the device. If there isn't a connection, then it will just keep it there, sort of pause, ready and waiting to upload when you do get a connection. Absolutely brilliant for collaboration, this. And this instantly made me think of, there's a local health authority. They had a situation where lots of their workers out in the field used to have to do handovers during the day, exchanging notes about patients, and they used to carry around huge big piles of paperwork, bootloads of paperwork, travel to a meeting place, meet up, have their meetings, exchange the notes, and then go out of business again. And so they were losing half an hour meeting, 15 minutes each way travel, so up to an hour a day across multiple health workers. So what they did was they utilised Good Work and the doc service here, and essentially all they had to do was update a patient's records and then save it straight back. And then there was no need to travel to meet other colleagues during the day, so there's no time wasted there, no handover necessary. They could literally open up the patient's records and edit them, the details of the daily work back into their live, saving many hours. And if you hour a day times X amount of staff times 5 days a week times X amount of working weeks, you don't have to be Carol Vorderman to start seeing the benefits there. A really great use case for just simplifying an everyday workflow. I'm sure there's many people out there using Microsoft Dynamics CRM. We also have a secure version of this app, and it was actually written by Microsoft using our own SDK. So while you want your employees to be productive, you don't want them to leak data inadvertently or otherwise. And our solution here helps prevent that from happening. On the back end, you can also manage not just your Microsoft devices, but your non-Microsoft devices, all from the same place. You can define users by device, department, or function. You can leverage Active Directory or create custom groups if you have users who may not be in Active Directory. It allows you to think holistically in regards to security and manage it all from one platform. In fact, in the latest release, now all you have to do to deploy Mobility solution to your users is drop your users into a Active Directory group, say, and there can be many groups if you like, and they'll automatically send them an email, a welcome email, allowing them to deploy the applications. So it doesn't have to be an extra thing that IT has to do. It can do all in one without onboarding a new user, for example. As you go through further evolution of the Mobility story, you may find yourself the need to build your own applications. It's great. We've mobilized today's applications, your emails, and your office editing solution. But what people really want to do sometimes is mobilize their own custom workflows. And so using Mobility to get ahead of the competition securely across a broad set of platforms. You can see that there's a lot of programming languages listed up there. I'm not a developer myself, but there's quite a few that cover many platforms, and we support all of those. So using our SDK, this is the same SDK that Microsoft built their CRM software on. It's available on iOS and Android too, and essentially lets any organization build and customize an app for their own workflow and have it done securely as well, and then all managed from the same console. So there's no separate faff or worry. It's all secure, and we take care of that security with our SDK. Now, there's lots of controls you may want to put into your mobile estate. So, for example, if your app's been, or your user's got a device and they jailbreak that device, then as soon as that device is jailbroken, then the security on that device is compromised. So by incorporating jailbreak detection into our applications, that's mitigated against straight away. So IT would be alerted with an alert if they sign into the control panel, they get an email. That worry is taken away. You can specify that you don't want certain handsets to be used or certain versions of software to be used. You can have users automatically sign in with all sorts of KCD, single sign-on. The tailoring on the back end is really limitless. The real key is being able to provide end-to-end security across all the different apps and platforms. So, just as secure as if you're using iOS or Android or Microsoft, and consistently across all those applications, so be it Lync, SharePoint, whatever you're using, you need to be consistent and consistently secure. You want to protect the application. You want to protect the data and the device and the policies and identities of the apps and your staff across all those different mobile applications and platforms. Don't just rely on device policy to save you. Have a device policy as well, but make sure you protect your data within the container and make sure your connection to the backend is consistent, efficient, and secure. It's important to note here, you'll notice at the bottom left-hand side of the slide there, we are the only solution with common criteria EL4+ certification. That's the highest standard available. And there's a number of reasons why we're the only organisation to have that. There's full details again on our website in the security section. So a single platform to mobilise all your Microsoft apps. This is exactly what the Good platform provides. It gives you a consistent and efficient way of connecting back your backend systems without exposing any of your data and without creating a free-fall that leads to a series of pitfalls. So, in summary, while you're choosing a solution, my advice would of course be pick Good, but whatever you choose, please pick a solution that allows you to securely mobilise your Microsoft applications. Consider your requirements. Don't just think about your apps you're deploying today, but consider apps and workflows you may like to mobilise in the future. Consider how you're going to manage both Microsoft and non-Microsoft platforms. And that's it. Short but concise and to the point. I hope that's been useful. So if I hand over back to Amy, and we'll see if you've got any questions.
Thanks, Danny. Okay, I'm just going to change it back to my screen. Okay, so as Danny mentioned, if you do have any questions, there is a questions box just at the right-hand side of your screen. You can just pop those in there. Okay, so we'll just wait to see if we have any. Okay, so we have a question from this is from Chris, who said, "We have Good for Enterprise. Is this being replaced by Good Work? Is there an upgrade deal to move to Good Work?"
Yes, indeed. So consider it more as a parallel transition. So Good for Enterprise isn't being canned by any means, but yeah. So if you're licensed to use Good for Enterprise, you'd be licensed to use Good Work. So if you were to speak to your account manager at Bytes, they can put you in touch with the account manager at Good, and we can help you through that transition.
Yeah,
there is a slight change in architecture on the back end. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say if Chris just pops that in his feedback form at the end, we can get back to him.
Excellent. Yeah, there is a slight change in architecture on the back end, but yeah, it's fairly straightforward and shouldn't be too much upheaval. And you can have both apps running at the same time within your organisation, so you don't have to suddenly move everyone over in one go. You can have a nice, smooth transition.
Okay, thanks, Danny. So Derek has asked, is the solution provided on a reseller basis? So I'm assuming that means that would be yes.
Yes. Well, yes, indeed. So, Derek, are you asking if you want to resell it, or is Bytes our reseller?
I'm not really sure. I'm guessing he means through us, in which case that would be right, wouldn't it?
Indeed, yeah, I guess.
Okay, let me just have a look here. So Steve's asked for a copy of the presentation. So yeah, that's fine. I'll send that this afternoon.
Super. Thank you, Amy.
Okay. So Chris, if SharePoint if a SharePoint document edited on a phone using Good Work, does it stay on the phone in secure container, or does it get deleted when checked back in?
So what happens there is entirely dependent on what IT have decided initially. So it could be the case that IT have said that documents can be read-only. So you can open the document, but all you can do is then close it again, and it isn't kept on the device. IT might have set the policy to be that you can open a document and edit it, but when it's saved, it can't be saved on the device. Always must go back to where it came from, be it SharePoint or a network file share. Or it may be the case that IT have said, actually, let's have it syncing, so you can save a copy on the device just for ease of use, if offline use, maybe get a plane or a train or something. But then it also automatically backs up any changes back to the network file share when it does get back in connectivity, or it's back in Wi-Fi coverage. So it's completely tailorable, and you can have multiple different groups and users as well. So maybe your HR department might be able to do more and edit and save back to network file. It's so granular, the fine tuning of it. It's yeah, you can literally think of any eventuality, every use case. You can tweak it to match the requirement essentially. Well, actually, one thing I didn't mention there was that what you can do also is what people often ask: how do you know, or can we tell when someone has accessed something remotely? As far as your servers are concerned, when a user accesses the data, the servers think it's actually that person. So if you look at the last person to access a file, it won't say it's good, it will say that in the name of that particular user. So it'll be Danny Breeze if I've accessed that. So, and it's all integrated into Active Directory as well. So if you take a user out of Active Directory, straight away they won't be allowed to access the apps because of that integration. So it's very very little sort of needing to do from the RT side.
Okay, thank you all. So question from Steve. He said, for synced files, how are edit conflicts flagged or handled?
So the same way as it would be on a sort of Windows device. So you'd be alerted if, let's say, with two users try to open the same spreadsheet and they save information in there. Whoever opened it first would probably get the priority, and it would alert you and say, look, there's some other changes been made here. Do you want to save a copy of it to the same file? So it'd be handled the same way as you would on a network file or on a laptop, essentially.
Okay, thanks, Danny. And Steve's got another question. Which version of the Microsoft CRM apps are currently available?
That's a really good question, and off the top of my head, I don't have the information to hand, but I can certainly find out for you after the call and follow that up. Not a problem.
Okay, that's fine. We can send that in our follow-up email with the link to the recording. We can answer that question for you. Okay, so I think from the looks of things, that's all the questions we have today. So thanks, Danny, so much for presenting, and thanks everyone for taking the time out of your busy schedules to watch the webinar today. And as mentioned before, if you could just fill out the feedback form at the end if you'd like more information or a follow-up call from Bytes, that would be great. Okay, so thanks everyone, and thanks Danny again, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks so much.